top 10 DHs of 2024 based on the actual performance during the year, and we're comparing this list to our preseason top 10 DHs. But let's start by looking at the 2 DHs that we had in our preseason top 10 who were not actually top 10 DHs during the year. And I would like to also make this disclaimer before we start this list that DH is kind of weak because not every team has a DH. So there really weren't 30 DHs to compare here. And there's really barely more than 10 everyday DHs throughout the league. But anyway, let's get down to the list, starting with the players that missed out with Mitch Garver, our preseason number 7. And he was a disaster offensively, which really was happening with all of Seattle's offense. He's supposed to be a super home run threat, and he only hit 15 home runs this year. He also hit under 200 with his batting average, which I know he always has a low batting average, but that's just way too low even for him. Then we have JD Martinez, our preseason number 4. He really wasn't the most productive with the Mets and was just a league average hitter, which really doesn't cut it as a DH. So then to actually start our top 10, we will start with Alec Burleson of the St. Louis Cardinals. He may not have been that much above a league average hitter, but in comparison to JD Martinez, comparing those two because they had a similar WRC plus and similar bases created plus, Burleson had way more run production. He had way more runs, RBIs. He also had more stolen bases and struck out way less. Then at the number 9 spot, we had our preseason number 6, Jorge Soler. He played well despite being stuck in a pitcher-friendly San Francisco ballpark, which hurts him as a home run hitter. But he did get out of there and then go to Atlanta later on in the year. He ended with a 119 WRC plus, which was really solid. And he also had an offensive run value of 12. And those are really two of the bigger stats that I look at with DHs is WRC plus and offensive run value. Then at the number 8 spot, we have David Fry, who was amazing for the Guardians. Unfortunately, did end up missing a major amount of time with an injury, but with an offensive run value of 21, he still deserves a spot on this list. Then at the number 7 spot, we had Kerry Carpenter, also another guy who missed a major amount of time, but was massive to the Tigers as they went on a heater to make the playoffs at the end of the year. And he was playing at the level of one of the best hitters in the league at that point. Then we have the number 6 DH, who was our number 10 in the preseason, and that is Jock Peterson. He dominated when he played for the D-backs and led them to one of the best offenses in baseball. He had an offensive run value of 32, which is a major jump up from the DHs behind him on this list. And then at the number 5 spot, we have our preseason number 5, Marcell Ozuna, who spent a portion of the year in the Triple Crown race, which is a good sign that you are an incredible hitter. He also was getting some MVP discussion at different points in the year. And so he is most definitely one of the best hitters in baseball and deserves his spot on this list. But then at the number 4 spot, we have our preseason number 3, Kyle Schwarber. Now, Kyle outproduced Ozuna as he hit leadoff, as he ended up getting a lot of extra runs scored due to that. But he also matched Ozuna when it came to RBIs, which was impressive as a leadoff hitter. He also had the highest walk rate among all of the DHs that we have. Then at the number 3 spot, we had Brent Rooker, our preseason number 8. What an amazing breakout for Brent Rooker. Also love his Twitter game. He really asserted himself as one of the better hitters in the league this year, and he and Lawrence Butler actually made Oakland worth watching at times. He also had the second highest run value among DHs with 45. But then the number 2 DH is our preseason number 2, Yordan Alvarez. And Yordan is an incredible hitter, worthy of comparison to players such as Miguel Cabrera and David Ortiz. He did miss some time, which did limit his production a little bit, but when he was on the field, he is one of the most unstoppable bats in the game, and a very consistent and a very disciplined and knowledgeable hitter with absolutely insane power. But then the number 1 DH in all of MLB was our preseason number 1, Shohei Ohtani. 54 home runs, 134 runs scored, 130 RBIs, 59 stolen bases, 181 WRC plus, 163 bases created plus, 73 offensive run value, 8 base running value. All of those stats are the highest among DHs, and it really wasn't particularly close with many of those either. So that concludes our list. Make sure to come back next time when we're going to do the top 10 starting pitchers of 2024.